Pulse 95. Between local lines, notes from the Emirate.
Notes from the Emirate indeed. On Saturday, the 26th of September, mark those dates in your diary. The spaceship will be opening to the public. To talk to us more about that, the flying saucer is going to be the Vice President of the Sharjah Out Foundation, Her Excellency Sheikha Nawar Al Qassimi. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Big news, flying saucer. What's happening?
Morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Big news indeed. The flying saucer is opening this Saturday in Sharjah. The flying saucer, as a lot of people know, is a very iconic building that looks like a UFO that's been in Sharjah since the 1970s. So for a lot of people who've lived and grown up in Sharjah, people have very different memories with this building. It was used as it first opened as a cafe in the 70s, a French cafe, and then turned into Al Mayalal's supermarket, a co-op, Al Taza chicken shop, and then an exhibition space. Wow. So it's gone through many transformations. But basically what's happened is that the Sharjah Art Foundation has acquired this building. And we've, as a lot of people know, we've acquired many buildings from the past, from the 70s, and have kind of renovated the building to, first of all, to preserve it, and second of all, to return it to its original shape and then repurpose it as an art space. So that's what we've done. People who visit the building will see that the exterior, some parts of the exterior have changed, but the inside and kind of architecturally speaking, the building itself has been restored to its original state. Plus, we've introduced a new underground space, which is really exciting. And kind of that's our big announcement.
So for people who didn't go to the flying saucer before, can you just take us like a visual tour on what they will expect to see there, or what to see there?
Well, it's a building that's got a panoramic view of Sharjah, and there's a dome in the middle. Mm-hmm. And the building is now housing an exhibition, so you can catch exhibitions in that space. And then we've introduced a new basement space, which is really exciting, which is a community space. And the basement space is going to have different elements. One of them is a sunken garden. It's got beautiful natural light coming in, and multiple screens, so we can have film screening showing different films at the same time, a co-working space, a cafe, a library, the first and I think the biggest art library in Sharjah currently right now, and then multi-purpose rooms for workshops, crafts. It's a really, really cool community space in the underground section, and then on the ground floor you've got exhibitions, and then an open outdoor public space as well.
And what significance does this project hold for Sharjah?
The building of Sharjah was opened during a very crucial time in the 70s. It was when there were a lot of these kind of state-sanctioned public projects, and this was one of them. And it really linked to kind of the futuristic vision at that time, when modernity was kind of being embraced in the UAE. And it was really, the building itself is a cultural icon. So it was important for us to restore that and preserve that. And just for kind of the cultural memory of the Emirates. And then repurposing it so that it serves the needs of not just kind of artists in the art community, but also the public. It's in a residential area. So the building itself is not just an art space, but it's also a community space, and a space that will serve people who live in that neighborhood as well.
Yeah, talk to us more about that aspect, the community aspect to this. It's a multi-purpose building. You said it's caters to art exhibitions and various other events. But talk to us about what makes going to this place so special for people in Sharjah and the UAE.
I mean, if you've never seen it before, architecturally, it's beautiful. It's a stunning space. And if you have seen it before, there's something really magical about going into that, or at least I felt that when I visited, is going into that space again after having been there as a child and seeing kind of, you know, the way that it looks today. The interesting thing, I mean, in terms of kind of community spaces, there are a lot of community and co-working spaces. But what's interesting is that this space houses the biggest art library. So you're going to have access to art books. And, you know, whether you're interested in research or just interested in art in general. And then also having these multi-purpose spaces in the middle of the residential area means that we can have, you know, family workshops and events for people literally at their doorstep. And something that our Sharjah Art Foundation does is that we have venues in different places. We're not limited to one area. And really the purpose of that is to make art accessible to all. You don't have to be, you know, an art connoisseur to go into art or to enjoy an artistic project. You know, you've got projects like the Rain Room, for example, that are in residential areas. So this is kind of one of those projects.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen like Sharjah Art Foundation do this with other older buildings as well, renovating them and turning them into art spaces. Can you talk to us about the public's level of interest and engagement with art over the past few years, say, and recently as well, particularly this year, how it's changed amid the pandemic and what your expectations are for this project? Because it's pretty eye-catching, the building itself. Do you expect to see a higher level of engagement with the arts in Sharjah now?
I think so. I mean, we've seen our audiences grow over the past few years, and once we've opened our physical art spaces in Al Maraja, you know, we've had a lot of visitor numbers over the years, particularly when there is a huge project or a biennial. I mean, with the Rain Room, you know, amazing footfall. Obviously, with the pandemic, things have slowed down. A lot of things went digital. Things are kind of closer. But to be very honest, once we reopened our spaces, you know, post-lockdown, we had a really big kind of influx of people coming in, which we didn't really expect. But I guess people were looking for something to see and wanted to go to a space that they felt safe. With the Flying Saucer, and because it is a big building and there's a lot of space, I feel like people are still going to come. I don't think, I mean, obviously you're not going to get the same crowd, but you know, people are booking their tickets online. It's you know, there's enough space for enough people to be there for it to feel like you've got people through the door. You know, we have timed slots for tickets. I mean, the tickets are free. Everything is free and open to the public, but we've got ticketed events for everything. So you book a ticket, you get a 2-hour slot, and then you go around and you feel that you're in a comfortable space and can look at art, can hang out, can read a book, can have coffee. So I don't think, I mean, I think obviously the dynamics change when we're talking about looking at art and going to events, but I think we've got enough space to have people book tickets and visit comfortably.
If you want to advise visitors to go, what's the best time to go to get the best experience?
For the Flying Saucer.
I mean, what's magical about the building is that it looks very different during the day.
Yeah.
Versus the night. I think daytime is beautiful because you have, I mean, there's a lot of play on light with the architecture in the space, and specifically the underground space. And I think weekends are always great. I mean, we're planning a lot of events coming up. Obviously, taking care and having socially distanced events. But over the next few weeks, we're gonna host creative workshops. We've already announced them on the Sharjah Art Foundation Instagram page for families and for children. And then we've got film screenings coming up. So we're screening Metropolis. You know, we're doing sci-fi films and the Flying Saucer. So we're screening Metropolis.
Wow.
And we're showing Hook as well. So we're doing things for families. So I think, just people can pop by when there's an event or just book a ticket and check out the space.
Amazing. Well, it certainly is something to look forward to, and I'm pretty sure all Sharjawis and Sharjawiyas will be looking forward to the reopening of a fantastic space. Now, I'd like to ask you in terms of more changes to the aesthetic looks. Are we staying or keeping it the way it was after the renovation, or is there going to be some green spaces, some places for people to be doing stuff outdoors, because the weather is getting better nowadays, isn't it?
Well, we've got an outdoor space, basically this outdoor platform, which we're going to use to host events. And then we have a sunken garden in the basement that has access, so you can go into this beautiful garden that's in the basement of the Flying Saucer. So we do have some outdoor spaces that we're going to use. And yes, definitely. I mean, we're looking at performances and all of these things once the weather is better.
And what's the plans for the opening day so that the Morning Majlis trio can
It's
gate
going to
crash?
open on the 26th, right?
26th on
Yeah.
Saturday. So what's the plan for the opening ceremony so that we can gate crash and join in the party?
Just book your tickets because somebody's going to stop you at the door and ask you a ticket to book your ticket. But we're opening on the 26th, so we're open from the morning. We're open all day. We're not really doing an event, but we're having timed slots for people to come and visit the building and take a look, and you can get a tour of the space if you like. And then we're also opening, the upstairs exhibition space is opening with Lindsay Sears and Keith Sargent's Nowhere Al Qassimi. It's an exhibition that Lindsay Sears working on for many years now, and is very excited to see the Flying Saucer. So she's got a really interesting video work that responds to the architecture and element of the Flying Saucer. It's quite futuristic. And then downstairs you've got the cafe and open space where you can come and take a look at the library and the building itself.
So the only place to book tickets from is the sharjaart.org website, right?
Yes, that's where you can go.
Okay.
That's where you can get your tickets. And if you'd like a visual experience of the Flying Saucer, then all you have to do is stay tuned to Pulse 95 Radio's Instagram account. Of course, the Sharjah Art Foundation as well. Because we will be doing an exclusive tour on Sunday as part of our coverage on the big opening and grand reopening of the Flying Saucer. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Sheikha Nawar, and really a pleasure to have you on air.
Thank you. See you on Saturday.
Thank you.
See you all on Saturday indeed. Thank you very much once again for joining us. And this is the Morning Majlis. If you're excited about joining or flying off to the Flying Saucer or jetting off towards it, let us know on the text lines 4215. We'll be right back after a short interval. This is the Morning Majlis only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95. You're listening to Pulse 95. Pulse 95.
It's Pulse 95.